Hey guys, Mark here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so recently I did show off the Zamasu team with the physical Rose using Kid BUU with his Super EZA for the massive amount of support that he gives. And last night on the podcast we were talking about, I think it was to do with the trash take at the end, where we were comparing a bunch of releases from 2021 to 2023, because a lot of people felt that there were a lot more misses than hits overall in 2023. And one of the things we were talking about was the heroes units in 2023 were obviously a bit more well received, with Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito being very, very good. And of course, physical Super Saiyan 3 Rose, who I think is very good and I think a little bit underrated. In terms of the anniversary content, I feel like Rose has the potential to age a little bit better, because on release, we're all a little bit confused by him having things in his passive for getting extra attacks when fighting a Goku, and then when he transforms into full power, fighting a character whose name includes Super Saiyan Blue, well, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. But of course, there's a lot of events that come out with the anniversary that fulfill one or both of those conditions, right? Like, the Blue Gogeta event, you start off fighting Goku and Vegeta for 2 phases, and then you fight Gogeta, who's a Super Saiyan at first, and then a Super Saiyan Blue. So you're able to activate his passive in most of these phases. So I thought we would jump on and check him out on this team with the Kid BUU support. We don't have Kid BUU on this first rotation, so at least we started with him on the first turn, because the biggest drawback to this Super Saiyan 3 Rose is the fact that, of course, he is a character that stacks in base, but you can't control when he's going to transform, right? So he will always transform on turn 5. So if he starts in slot 7 and you don't see him until turn 3, he gets 1 turn where he gets to attack, and then he transforms on the next turn. And we've seen in this event specifically as well, we're doing the Buhan absorption red zone stage because it is one of the longer ones, and we want to give our boy a chance to not only get some stacks but see a couple of different rotations with him. But of course, if he gets sealed, and especially, I think I had it happen in that one of those videos I did. It might have been the original video with the Zamasu versus... No, I think it was... No, it was Heroes versus this run. That's it. Because, yeah, for Heroes versus Buhan, Rose was in slot 7, and then on his first turn was sealed, which means when he transformed, he'd had 0 stacks in base, which is kind of annoying. And then, of course, you can see there, pre-transformation, if you don't have the crossover allies on the team, he only has a chance to guard. But, I mean, we can see on this turn, he still takes double-digit damage. Let's get... We won't have big bad bosses for Kid BUU. I kind of want Kid BUU to get some build-up, but we're going to have to float him off here if I want him on the rotation with the Rose. So I guess we'll just go ahead and float him off now. He's not going to get any hits in at this point, but he should still be okay. Zamasu won't have big bad bosses, but he's got 70% support from Kid BUU, so kind of makes up for it, right? With big bad bosses giving the buff that it gives, but Kid BUU just like, nah, here's 70% extra attack and defense. So I think we'll take that over the big bad bosses, at least for this turn. Now, the one thing I'm really looking forward to, as I said, this Rose, his potential is going to increase dramatically with the anniversary content. And it's not just the stages that he's good in, because he can be run on Broly's team, although I believe it is only under the 170. But when it comes to the domains, and of course, we know that there's potentially going to be some kind of update. We don't know what it is, right? A lot of people jumping to the conclusion that it's going to be the ability to stack domains, or maybe even just override domains, right? So if you've got one active, you'd then still be able to transform with Broly, or say use Zamasu's one, and it just overrides the one that's already in play. I could probably see that happening more than stacking them, because I feel like that could end up being kind of OP. But the one thing that's going to be really beneficial for this Rose is that Broly domain, because Broly's domain buffs all extreme allies. It's attack and defense 10%. It's an additional 10% for exploding rage or movie bosses, which this Rose is not on, but it also increases the damage received by superclass enemies by 10%. So Rose is going to be getting a stat buff and dealing more damage to the enemy as well. So that should work out very nicely. I don't want to get too many attacks with the physical Rose here, because I don't want him to kill Buhan. Buhan does have a lot of HP though, so I think we'll probably be fine. So we'll go ahead and do this. Because, yeah, currently on this version of the team, if you choose to use Zamasu's domain, all it does is increase damage to superclass enemies and allies. And then the Rose domain only affects Super Boss's characters, which, of course, Super Saiyan 3 Rose is not. So at the moment, he can't be affected by either of the domains on this team. I mean, I guess if you're fighting a superclass enemy, then obviously Zamasu's domain allows him to do extra damage to those enemies, but the Broly one is really going to be the big buff for him. And of course, when you get Broly's team, you ideally want to get Broly's domain because you want to transform with Broly, right? So on Broly's team, because he leads super bosses, right, his leader skill is super bosses, transformation boost, or full power, and then it's exploding rage or movie bosses. So you'll be able to run the physical Rose and Super Saiyan 3 Rose on that team. If you set up the one rotation where you have the like double Broly, one of them transformed and the other one not, then the other rotation you could have the physical Rose and Super Saiyan 3 Rose, and they're going to be getting this massive buff from Broly's domain versus superclass enemies going to be doing a pretty decent amount of damage. The only big downside, I guess, apart from the chance to guard in the early turns, the big downside for Super Saiyan 3 Rose is he doesn't have big bad bosses. It's just unfortunate the way they distribute the links for the heroes characters. They do try and stay more sort of like lore accurate to the arcs from heroes, which is why the Dark King Fu has big bad bosses from last year's batch of units and Rose doesn't, because even though I would imagine for most people, I know a lot of people that like heroes do like Fu, but I imagine for most people it's the masked Goku Black going all the way up to, you know, full power Rose and then being defeated by Gogeta. That's kind of like the hype big thing from that arc. So it's a little bit unfortunate that he did not get big bad bosses, because of course that would help him out massively when it comes to these teams, right? If he had big bad bosses, he would be so good. Like we saw on that run that I did with heroes versus this stage, where we got all the way up to the full power transformation with no stacks in base, and he was still able to do relatively decent damage. But of course, our first turn where we have him with Kid Buu, we don't have the ability to super attack, so now we're going to have to wait multiple turns to see him on rotation with Kid Buu again. I should have brought a cleanse like status effects items, but fortunately this is a long event, so we're going to get a chance to see this rotation again, but that is very annoying. Also, the lack of key for they share brutal beatdown and fierce battle, so not a great turn for Kid Buu since he can't get a super, which means he doesn't get that 250% on super stat buff. But I mean, of course, physical Rose taking full advantage of all the links from Super Saiyan 3 Rose and the support from Kid Buu as well. So we've already seen Kid Buu on this team build with the Rose and Zamasu. Definitely works out very well. It's funny because the other thing we were talking about on the podcast last night is how this physical Rose, we finally could have had a really good event for him to shine in, because he has a lot of haters or people that underrate this unit. And Kid Buu coming out, especially with the second phase being int, this would have been like the perfect opportunity for Rose to kind of shine a little bit. And unfortunately, he only does unarmed super attacks. Even after you use his domain, where obviously he pulls out the scythe, the super attack animation starts off with the clones attacking the enemy. So it counts as an unarmed super attack, which means he actually can't do damage to the Kid Buu boss unless he's doing additional normal attacks. Which, I mean, he does do a lot of them, so it's not the end of the world, but it's funny how we've had this int Buu have to get hit by so many of these random attacks, and he took some decent damage early on, but we haven't really come close to having him actually die. But yeah, we are 6 turns in, and we're still on Buu tanks here, so we've got more than enough opportunity here to get the rotation with Rose and double Rose and Kid Buu back again here. And of course my Buu no crit, so gives him the opportunity to get some extra attacks in here potentially. No additional supers though, annoyingly, although I suppose that does give that gives Buhan an extra stack for his defense, so I guess that probably works out quite nicely. And then we can move on to the next phase here. So STR Buhan doesn't seal or lock you, which is good. Now we could use his domain, but it doesn't buff. It doesn't buff Rose at all. Not that that really matters, I suppose, but he's at 252 start of turn. Physical Rose is only at 200, but he does have 60% damage reduction in slot 1. I guess we could go ahead and use it, right? Try and get through some of these turns a little bit faster, but... Plus, of course, this guy, like, he's not going to have big bad bosses active, but he does get a pretty nice setup on this turn, so... Good old orbs. We can still only get 2 with the orb changing. Okay. So I do like running this team a lot of the time. I've been running Vados on the team as an orb changer, but with the setup the way it is now, it's like there's not a lot of units that you're going to want to put on the team or take off the team in order to put Vados on, right? Like Kid Buu is a much better support unit than Vados, and then no one else is really like a floater on this team, right? Because the double Zamasu leads end up floating if we want to run Rose, like Super Saiyan 3 Rose on the rotation, which I suppose for this team he's going to make a pretty decent floater, because obviously you kind of want to have the Zamasu and Rose together for big bad bosses a lot of the time, but we're trying to specifically showcase Super Saiyan 3 Rose here, so we will keep him on rotation. I think this is his first time without being sealed, isn't it? So physical Rose up to 12 mil here. I mean, this is all without big bad bosses as well, so physical Rose definitely can be very good. Took a lot of damage from the super. I mean, his slot 1, his start of turn defense isn't the best, so in these situations without big bad bosses, he's probably not the ideal slot 1 unit. But we see full power Rose here going from almost 12 mil to about 12.5. And then, of course, if he's fighting a Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan enemy, you can get another one of those as well. And then I think, was it the... there's also the possibility for the hidden potential. I need to double check his transformed thing, actually. But Zamasu laying down some attack lowering here. And then, of course, we get a ton of healing. Do I just use the active skill? I mean, I could do... Buhan hasn't had a crazy amount of stacks yet, but... we started on low HP, so he's got guard. So we probably should just get the extra defensive stack in here for him. And then Kid Buu can grab this. Get Kid Buu floated off again so we can see Rose and him together. But I mean, that's him dropping, what, around 11 to 12 mil with the links from the physical Super Saiyan Rose. So then when Kid Buu is in slot 3 giving a 70% buff, and then, like I say, fighting an enemy where he's potentially going to be able to get additional super attacks on top of that, like he's going to be able to do quite a lot of damage. So, I mean, you guys know, right? Like when the anniversary content comes out, I'll be doing what I can to get as much stuff done with the Heroes team as possible. We've kind of already hit the wall a little bit when it comes to the Kid Buu, right? Like the first three stages of the Majin Buu Red Zone I have managed to do with the Heroes team, but the Kid Buu stage is proving a little bit tricky, at least when it comes to doing no items, right? I'm going to put up a video probably later today of showing some of those attempts. But of course, with the nuking strategy that I did the video for the other day, we were using the Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku, the Dragon Fist Goku, a couple of other hard hitters on that team. But I mean, if you get the rotation with Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Vegito with physical Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, like together in one of the turns versus the STR Kid Buu, it doesn't really matter whether it's turn 1 or 2. You use that Chi Light item and you get a good orb change, then like he can just nuke him down, and of course you can beat that phase, you can beat that stage in the first turn if you do enough damage. So that is something that we hopefully will be able to see. So yeah, let me just double check his full power passive here. So you get all our attacks, launches an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. So that we saw that the last turn, right? He did 2 supers. If there's a Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan enemy, he launches another attack that has a great chance to become a super, and there's the hidden potential. So we only saw 2 attacks last turn. He can do 3, and then of course if there's a Super Saiyan Blue enemy on his best turn, he can do 4 super attacks. And that doesn't even take into account, like I said before, I'll miss the nodes here so we can make sure we see Super Saiyan 3 Rose attack. Although, you know, physical Rose. It's not like his first super is the most damaging one anyway. But some of those events, like I say, from the anniversary, where you do fight a Goku in the early turns, and then you either end up fighting a Super Saiyan Blue Goku or Vegeta or Gogeta, so full power gets his passive active as well. But the base or Super Saiyan 3 Rose can get a bunch of extra supers if you're fighting a Goku, so that gives him more stacks in base. So his numbers once he's transformed are going to be even higher potentially than what we're seeing here, and then he's going to be getting extra supers in the full power form as well. So Rose definitely has the potential to be very, very good in some of those anniversary content things, even outside of the Heroes team, and that's obviously the main thing that I really want to see, is him on that Broly team, even though he only gets a 170 lead. Or there's this Zamasu team where he is getting the 200% leader skill. And this Zamasu team, because he has worldwide chaos, so all of these BUU team buffs have been a buff for his team as well. This team I think is really, really good currently. So I very much enjoy running this team. Loads of different buffs. I like having the rotation of having the two BUUs. You can either run Int BUU and Buuhan, or you could run Tech Exchange BUU and Buuhan. And then, of course, once you've transformed the LR and you have Kid BUU floating into slot 3, then he's giving him big bad bosses. So it does all work out quite nicely. I guess we're still... Do I want to get more stacks with you? I probably should. I didn't actually bring any items, did I? Because, well, I suppose for the sake of getting an extra stack, actually, oh no, because the active skill will kill him, won't it? Because it does damage. I was going to put him in slot 1, but I'm not sure about how well Buuhan will eat a slot 1 super. I'm not sure if he actually had his guard up at the start of the turn. I didn't see how much damage HP we started with, because if you're below a certain amount of HP, then Buu has guaranteed guard, but if you're not, it's only a chance to guard. So of course, if this STR enemy super attacks immediately in slot 1 and he doesn't guard, then we'll take a lot of damage. But yeah, of course, we've had this guy do a super and then an additional normal and nothing else multiple times, and now when we don't want him to kill, so we can get an extra stack for Buu, then of course he does. So alright, so we've got our rotation back. We've lost the domain, but as we said before, that doesn't buff Kid BUU anyway. So that doesn't matter too much. Are you kidding me? Kid BUU locked in slot 1. Okay. Right, well, I guess we'll leave you in slot 1 so you have big bad bosses active. Only 200k defense. If this guy super attacks immediately, we probably die, because Kid BUU hasn't had a lot of build up yet. So pretty awkward in terms of the rotation here. I'll have to float off full power Rose, so this is basically our last chance to get to see him on rotation with the Kid BUU support. As long as we... Okay, dodge this maybe with the dodge build? No? How much is this going to do? 362. Okay, well, we still live, and then there you go. So, I mean, Kid BUU, not really meant for slot 1, but able to survive with all of that damage reduction, so that's pretty good. So this will be the last turn, I guess, for the video, because we're floating off Super Saiyan 3 Rose, but we finally get to see the turn of him with the Kid BUU support, with the links active from physical Rose. Like I say, he wasn't getting the buff from the domain anyway. And then, of course, as I say, the whole point of the video was really just to talk about Rose, his potential for the future, and then, you know, we finally get to see this turn of him with the Kid BUU support. Maybe we can get lucky and actually get the hidden potential super on this turn as well and see the triple super turn. But physical Rose, of course, able to do some solid damage here as well with the Kid BUU support. And then we are at, yeah, 13 million for the first super attack here from Rose. And then we get the normal from the hidden potential, and we don't the normal from the passive, and we don't get the hidden potential. Typical. Always the way in there. You're trying to like gas up the units, and then we finally get the turn that we waited all this time to see, and bro doesn't do any additional super attacks. But I guess the point is, like I say, when it comes to the anniversary content, this guy is going to have a lot of his extra buffs. His full passive is going to be active in a lot of these events. And on this team, especially, or even, you know, with the inclusion of Broly, I think he shares like 3 links with Broly. It's like Super Saiyan, Fierce Battle. I'm trying to remember what the other one was now. I think it's Prepared for Battle. So it's not the craziest set of links, but that's one of the few instances where not having big bad bosses isn't the hugest detriment, because of course Broly doesn't have big bad bosses either. So Super Saiyan 3 Rose kind of fits into his team nicely because of that. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I think when it comes to the anniversary content on the horizon and stuff like that, you could almost get to the point now of saying that Rose has aged better than Limit Breaker Vegito, because Limit Breaker Vegito is definitely better for like the first few turns. But of course you need to run him on Heroes or Giant 8 Power, which, you know, hasn't really had a lot of buffs. LR Full Power Super Saiyan 4 Goku didn't really age very well, whereas this guy fits on quite a lot of teams, and even on a 170, like post Super, he's got guard once he's transformed. Like, he can certainly look very, very good. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.